Evening, everyone. I hereby announce that pursuant to Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided, and the notice was sent to the Asbury Park Press, the Two River Times, and posted on the bulletin board in Township Hall, and filed in the Township Clerk's office on January 3rd, 2025. Mayor Foster?
Here.
Ms. Lamountain?
Here.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Here.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Here.
And Mr. Romano is not here this evening. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Wendy. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we could all please remain standing for a brief moment of silence for our troops who serve us tirelessly at home and abroad. Thank you. Well, good evening, girls. Thank you for joining us tonight. Some congratulations. If you can bear with me 1 minute, I'm just going to read a quick proclamation and take some photos and have you guys on your way. Whereas this year, the 2025 Homedale High School Varsity Girls Volleyball Team won the NJSIAA Central Jersey Group 2 tournament with a 16-14 victory over Gov. Livingston, and whereas the team also made Homedale Township High School history by closing the season with an outstanding 24-3 record, making it the best varsity girls volleyball record the program has ever seen. And whereas the players were led, supported, and encouraged in their endeavors and successes by head coach Rebecca Morse and assistant coach Alex Johnson. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and Township Committee of the Township of Homedale on this 25th day of November 2025 that congratulations be extended to the following: Jessica Donnelly, Victoria G., Margot Messahy, Brooke Lavelle, Maya Houston, Kelsey Gallo, Olivia Krause, Melanie Sum, Isabella Pego, Ariella Janetti, Julia Kern, Sophia Kern, Olivia Keating, Amal Sayed, Helen Yilmaz, and Jules Gallo, both personally and officially on behalf of the residents of the community for their outstanding achievements. Be it further resolved that a suitably engrossed copy of this resolution be presented to the team as a small token of the esteem in which they are held, and be it further resolved that all best wishes be extended to all for continued success in all their future endeavors. Congratulations, girls. If you guys can come on up, we're going to take a quick picture with you guys, if it's all right.
You need something?
Mints.
Oh.
I can
you want me to run and get you water? No. Are you sure? The thing's right over there. No. I mean, it's going to be in a cup, but is that all right?
She offered to get me water. I said, no.
That's right. I want to know.
Thank you. That was very nice of you. Thank you.
Very nice, DJ. Okay. You ready?
Moving along, we will now take public comments on agenda items only, please. Seeing none, we will move along.
Next would be the consent agenda, which includes resolutions 2025-282 through 2025-295.
Can we get a motion?
Move.
Second.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. LaMountain?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Okay. Resolutions 2025-282 through 2025-295 have been successfully
Lance,
passed.
I'm sorry, can I disturb you? Could you shut that back door, please, buddy?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Next is introduction of ordinance 2025-29, which is an ordinance amending section 2-26 titled Department of Police. This motion is to adopt on first reading, publish in the Asbury Park Press, and set the public hearing for December 9th, 2025.
Can we get a motion?
Move.
Second.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. LaMountain?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2025-29 will be set for public hearing. Thank you. Next is hearing on ordinance 2025-26, which is an ordinance approving short-term lease agreements relative to block 49.02, lots 40, 40A, and 41, which is 117 Middletown / Red Hill Road.
Any public comments? Come on up, Ralph.
Ralph Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. Since the actual lease agreements weren't attached, just a question about what's the duration of the leases and how much income might the township expect from those for that, whatever period of time is it?
Sure. So that's still subject to ongoing negotiation at this point, and really is going to turn on whether the two parties want to stay on the property. This ordinance is giving the township the flexibility to extend that to them. Under the text of the ordinance, the lease, if it's extended, would go through December 31st, 2026, subject to 2 one-year extensions by mutual assent. So the township would have to agree to renew it at that point in time. And if these parties choose to stay on, they currently had an access agreement with UMC that was a modest amount of income. So I don't think it'll be anything that's a windfall. But they, in exchange for maintaining the lease, they did maintain the property. So there is that benefit as well to the township. If a lease is finalized, it'll obviously be a public record.
And am I correct that Bill Potter III is the son of the Bill Potter we knew?
That's above my pay grade. I'm not sure.
I think it's irrelevant.
Yeah, Bill was he's deceased, right? That was Bill
He was
Potter
the second.
Senior's, right? I think it was a second and then a third.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you.
One thing I'll also note for the record, Mayor, is the ordinance, when it was introduced, the text says that we were continuing to negotiate with UMC. That closing took place about a week ago, so the township is the fee title holder to the former Potter's property. The deed has been delivered to the township and has been recorded. So congratulations on that.
Thank you, Michael. Any other public comments? Seeing none, can we get a motion?
Move.
Second.
Mr. Pravaduto?
Yes.
Ms. LaMountain?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-26 has been successfully passed. Thank you. Next is hearing for ordinance 2025-27, which is a bond ordinance providing for improvements of Homedale Township School District facilities by and in the Township of Homedale in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, appropriating $600,000 thereof and authorizing the issuance of $571,428,000 bonds or notes of the township to finance part of the cost thereof.
Any public comments? Seeing none, can I get a motion?
Move. Second.
Mr. Pravaduto?
Yes.
Ms. LaMountain?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-27 has been successfully passed. Thank you. Next is a hearing on ordinance 2025-28, which is an ordinance approving short-term lease agreement relative to portion of Block 10.1, Lots 7 and 11, 108 Middletown Road.
Any public comments? Seeing none, can we get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Pravaduto?
Yes.
Ms. LaMountain?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 2025-28 has been successfully passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. Christopher, would you like to kick off our departments, please?
So, thank you, Mayor. Let me press my button before somebody yells at me. Tonight it's going to be a short report. Do you hear me? I'm not sure if it's coming over. Is it?
I see it.
I got to get real close to it, I guess. Closer to the mic. You hear me now? All right, good. All right. So tonight, I just want to quickly give you an update on the horn at Wilson Park and the process we're going through. As you all know, we did receive the preservation plan grant that we can go ahead and start getting stuff done, planning for the future. The hazmat, utility mapping, archaeology, materials conservation have all been completed. The historian has been doing their due diligence. We did walk with Dr. Wilson around, and he did give us some background on the buildings that he felt were not historic. The historian is in disagreement on two of the buildings. I guess he looked more into the echo of it, the Echo project, and they were historic, so we're probably going to be keeping those buildings, and they're in decent shape. They're going to be giving me, I asked them for executive summaries on all these. I originally got one that was not an executive summary. It was like 40 pages of stuff I didn't understand. So they are going to be giving us our executive summaries, and then I'll be able to share those. The next step in that in the process right now is that we're trying to make it safe enough, and that would include some kind of a fence that, like more of a park-like fence, like a farm fence or something like that, just so people, it's not going to stop people from going down those hills, but it's going to make them think twice before they go past it. It's going to be the rail fence, the wood rail fences. That's what we're looking at. We're going to try to get a T&M or one of our engineers to come up with a good site plan so that we can protect it and get it open. And I think that the town will be really proud of what we're trying to put together. We're going to give you guys hopefully a plan shortly on some of the educational stuff as well. So we're getting there. It's a process. One of the things we need to worry about is how we get people up there. Besides just driving, you're really walking up there is pretty unsafe at this point. So we're going to have to do something with that. We will be applying for an implementation grant. That's why we're working so hard right now to get it, because the implementation grants come out next year, and they'll be given around September, just like the last one we just got. That's it. That's all I have for tonight.
Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you, Pat. Michael?
That's my report. I don't have any specific items, but happy to answer any questions, Mayor. Thanks.
All right. Mr. Impreviduto?
Thank you, Mayor. We are conducting a Goal Zero high visibility enforcement operation known as HIVE. It's scheduled for Wednesday, November 26th from 3 to 7 p.m. Our focus area is Highway 34 as part of a statewide enforcement push. The goal of this enforcement is to keep drivers alert and eliminate distractions on the road. The results of this speak for themselves. In Monmouth County, since implementing Goal Zero details, we've attached an approximate 61% decrease in fatalities year to date, going from 39 lives lost in 2024 down to 15 in 2025. This success underscores the importance of traffic enforcement and our united effort to save lives. The Public Safety Cadet Program is open to students who are 14 to 18 years old and who would like to learn more about law enforcement. Homedale residency is not required. Meetings are held once a month during the school year. Members are trained in first aid, traffic control, self-defense, crime prevention, and many other specialized fields. If interested, students should contact Traffic Safety Officer Rocco Quaglia at 732-946-9690, extension 1733, or visit the Homedale Police website. From the Homedale Fire Department, the fire department will be conducting our annual canning fundraiser on the morning of Black Friday and the morning after. Look for our members at the entrances of the Homedale Town Center and Homedale Commons, and please consider making a donation. The annual township-wide Santa runs will begin in a couple of weeks. Residents are advised to keep an eye on the fire department's Facebook and Instagram accounts to find out when Santa will be coming through their zone. There will also be a link to the Santa tracker so you can see where Santa's sleigh is in real time. Please understand that sometimes our Santa runs are affected by weather or emergency calls. And then from the Department of Public Works, the 2025 townwide fall leaf collection has been ongoing since November 3rd. The second and final round of leaf collection will start on December 1st. Please be mindful of the schedule for your section. DPW is not able to come back out to your street if you miss your scheduled pickup day. And a reminder, brush collection has ended. Please do not leave piles of brush or branches on the street in front of your home, as that will impede DPW's ability to pick up leaves. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Rocco. Committeeman Lucarelli, please.
Thank you, Mayor. From the Recreation Department, Christmas tree and menorah lighting. This year, the annual Christmas tree and menorah lighting will be held on Sunday, December 7th, from 4 to 6 p.m. here at Town Hall. Please join us with your family, friends, and neighbors for this annual Homedale tradition. This year's activities will include the lighting of the menorah and the Christmas tree, an inflatable snow maze, an inflatable gingerbread obstacle course, Santa's sleigh selfie station, free hot chocolate and cookies, visits from Gingerbread Man and Minnie Mouse, songs by the Homedale Girl Scouts, music from DJ Mel, face painting from with Miss Anita, and the grand finale, a visit from Santa himself, escorted by members of the Homedale Fire Department. This is a free event for our residents. They can park, and the residents can park at the Senior Community Center and Post Office lots. I also have a resolution, Mayor, that I would like to walk on this evening. And the resolution reads, Resolution repealing Resolution 2019-322, whereas on October 22nd, 2019, the Township Committee adopted a resolution 2019-322, which is incorporated by reference hereon, and whereas the resolution censored Mayor Eric Hines for various alleged acts set forth thereon and provided for the resolution's transmission to various parties, including the local finance board, LFB, which administers the local ethics board, and whereas Hines provided the township with a copy of an April 24th, 2025 letter from the local finance board, which indicates that the complaint was filed against him under docket number C19-027, and that the LFB dismissed and the complaint as having no reasonable factual basis, and in light of the same, Hines has requested the resolution be repealed, and whereas with with it generally appearing that the alleged acts contained within the resolution having been investigated and dismissed by the local finance board, the Township Committee concurs with this request. Now herein be it resolved that the Township Committee of Homedale hereby repeals Resolution 2019-322 in its entirety. And I would ask for a motion on this.
I'll make a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Wendy, can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. Lamountain?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
The resolution has been successfully passed. Thank you.
That was all I have for this evening, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Committeeman. Deputy Mayor Lamountain.
Thank you, Mayor. From the Community Development Department, we don't have anything new this month. From our Homedale America 250 Committee, the next meeting for the committee will be on Monday, December 15th at 11 a.m. at Town Hall. Save the date for our Revolutionary War Trivia Night. It will take place Thursday, February 12th, 2026, from 6 to 9 p.m. at Texas Roadhouse. Prizes will be awarded to the top teams. Registration is free and will open soon, so keep an eye out for more information on that. Our Homedale Green Team, the members met again to work on the community energy planning. We revised our list of initiatives and submitted it to the Township Administration for their review. The team attended Heritage Day and handed out packets of native seeds for winter seed sowing. We enjoyed speaking with so many of the residents that were in attendance that day. At last week's League of Municipalities convention, the Green Team accepted our Bronze Certification Award from Sustainable Jersey. The next monthly meeting of the Green Team will be Monday, December 1st at 7 p.m., which is open to the public. And any Homedale resident interested in participating in these efforts is invited to email greenteam@homedaletownship.com or to attend our next meeting. And I just want to add to this, I was very excited to see there was an article that was shared in a publication for, I think it was the Indian Hill School, and they have junior Green Teamers. And to see the enthusiasm and the involvement of the kids endeavoring in the same goals as our Green Team was just really cool to see. So it's nice to see that what we do here at the township level within the community is also being shared with the students in the schools, and I just thought it was pretty nice. If you have a chance and can read that article, it was pretty cool. From the Homedale Heritage Committee, our Heritage Day 2025 recap, the award presentation ceremony for the Culture and Art Contest, which was held during the Homedale Heritage Day, is scheduled for our Tuesday, December 9th meeting. It'll take place at the beginning of our Township Committee meeting, so please join us at this final event for our 2025 Homedale Heritage Day. The students worked very hard on those art projects, and those two were very, very impressive, so kudos to those students. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, a couple of updates from my side. So we had a wonderful time honoring our local Homedale veterans at the annual Veterans Day ceremony earlier this month. I was especially proud to present the Veteran of the Year award to Mr. Joe Cartazzo, who was recognized not only for his service in the armed forces, but also for his ongoing role as a dedicated community servant within his neighborhood. The end of the year Veterans Club Luncheon will be held on Tuesday, December 16th at Texas Roadhouse at 1 p.m. Details are being finalized, and all members of the Veterans Committee will be notified shortly. The committee is open to all veterans and Gold Star family members. If you are interested in being part of the Veterans Committee, please contact the Recreation Office. I'm also excited to recognize the Homedale Hornets football team, who captured its first ever sectional title with the win over Seneca High School in the Central Jersey Group 3 Finals. Congratulations to all of the players and to Coach Kavanaugh and his coaching staff on this impressive season. Some other reports. U.S. News and World Report has named Village Elementary School and Indian Hill School among its ranking of best elementary schools, and William R. Satz Middle School among its ranking of best middle schools for 2026, placing all three in the top 40% statewide. Indian Hill School was recognized by the New Jersey State Board of Education as a 2025 Blue Ribbon School of Excellence, one of only 9 public schools and 2 private schools across New Jersey to receive this distinction. Congratulations to the staff and students at Indian Hills. Homedale Town Hall offices will be closing tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. and will remain closed Thursday and Friday in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday. Additionally, the recycling center will be closed tomorrow at 11 a.m. and will remain closed Thursday and Friday for the holiday as well. On behalf of my Township Committee colleagues and all of the staff of Homedale Township, I'd like to wish each of you and your families a happy, healthy, and restful Thanksgiving. So before we move into public comments, we just wanted to put out there a few items on the Vonage development. So, a couple things. Every suburban municipality is currently facing a 4th round mandate from 2025 to 2035. The state calculated Homedale's original obligation as 133 units. Homedale challenged this number, being led by Deputy Mayor LeMountain, and we negotiated it down to 106 units. That number is not just simply 106 units. Developers look to build affordable housing unit set-asides. If 106 is satisfied through a 20% set-aside, that means 530 units. If 15% set-aside, that means 707 units. Thus, we've been sitting up here for the last, let's say, year and a half, largely huddled with our planners and attorneys in closed sessions, trying to protect against a developer successfully demanding 500 to 700 new units in town that would forever change our community and prevent our school district from functioning. What happens if we don't proactively address these threats? We are seeing those effects just over our border in Middletown with the builder's remedy litigation from just about a week ago. Middletown entered into a settlement to build 136 units along Nut Swamp Road off Crawford's Corner right next to St. Catherine's. I'm not sure if anybody's seen that road, but it's 17 feet wide. How are they going to fit all those units over there? I have no idea, but this is what the state does. Homedale has fought this case at both the trial court and in the appellate court and is evaluating further action. Here in Homedale, we have done everything we can to fight these mandates because of their unfair, one-size-fits-all approach, while also working within the framework since it remains in effect to protect Homedale. We have taken every step possible to fight the unfairness of the mandates, both within Homedale's borders and beyond Homedale's borders, while also complying with them. Mike, could you detail some of our efforts, please?
Yes, certainly. So as the mayor just mentioned, Homedale's taken a 2-track approach to the 4th round of affordable housing. The first is working within the current system and trying to make the best decisions possible given the law and the way it's structured and really leaving the municipalities with difficult options. At the same time, Homedale has joined the Montvale Consortium, which is comprised of over 30 municipalities and has asserted numerous legal challenges in both state and federal court as to the 4th round and to the affordable housing law in general. Just to give a brief overview of the immense effort that the consortium has undertaken, there have been lawsuits filed in state court challenging the 4th round program and process. There have been challenges filed in the appellate division to the Uniform Housing Affordability Controls rulemaking, which was adopted by the Housing Mortgage Finance Agency without any notice or comment. So no New Jerseyan had any opportunity to comment on these rules, and yet the coalition's OPA request revealed that the state agency had conspired with all the special interest groups, including the Builders and Fair Share Housing Center, and exchanged drafts of those rules prior to their emergency adoption. There's also federal litigation that's challenging the urban aid classification. So under the law, for every 10 for every 10 people in population growth from 2010 to 2020 within your region, the non-urban aid municipalities need to create affordable housing to satisfy 4 people. So, and we're in the Monmouth, Ocean, Mercer region. So there are numerous non-urban aid municipalities that have population growth occurring. Some of them may include, Asbury Park, Lakewood. For every 10 folks that move into these communities, that creates an affordable housing need of 4 those urban aid municipalities are completely exempt from having any new unit obligation, while the surrounding suburbs, such as Homedale, are supposed to create this affordable housing for the population growth that the urban municipalities are facing. And the federal challenge is basically saying that this formula came about in 1983, 1984, when literally there was negative population growth in the urban areas, and it lacks applicability today because in New Jersey, we have an expert report demonstrating that literally half of New Jersey's population growth is occurring in the urban aid municipalities, even with the half that's occurring in the non-urban aid municipalities. And specifically, your mayor, Brian Foster, has stepped up and is actually an individually named plaintiff in the federal litigation, as well as the township being a named party as well. And Brian actually signed a certification this past Friday when we filed a motion for a preliminary injunction asking the federal court to place the fourth round mandates on hold before the March 15th, 2026 deadline, when every town is required to implement the zoning to comply with these numbers that you heard at the beginning of today's meeting. And absent that stay, every town is going to be forced to do just that. So there is a significant effort going on to fight this, but at the same time, the township is working within the system as well. So on that note, Homedale earlier this year was obligated to submit a compliant housing element and fair share plan by the June 30th, 2025 deadline. That plan's comprised of 3 different components to meet Homedale's obligation of the 106 units. The first is an extension of the controls on affordable units at Palmer Square, which yields 17 credits. Then there is the so-called Route 35 project, which is behind the Kohl's shopping complex, which would yield 80 units and 11 bonus credits, totaling 91 credits. And then finally, the former Vonage property yields 31 units plus 15 and a half bonus credits for a total of 46 and a half credits. So those are the 3 projects that comprise the fourth round, and now I'll turn it back to the mayor.
Thank you, Michael. So, how did we get here? Well, the building a couple years ago was sold off by Matt Cali. So, obviously, at that point, we had no choice but to negotiate with the owner to ensure that Homedale was protected with the future of the property. So, we negotiated with them for the last 2+ years. Ownership disclosure is on file. There's no conflict of interest. It's complete fabrication to say otherwise, but that information is available. The Township Committee has been fully transparent from day one with a redevelopment process that has now spanned over 2 years with over a dozen public meetings at which it has been discussed. This began in November of 2023 and then continued January of 2024 with the Planning Board. July of 2024, CHA came and publicly presented here in our Township Committee meeting as well. August 2024, Township Committee concurs with the Planning Board on the blight designation. In November of last year, the Township Committee reintroduces the redevelopment plan. In December of 24, the Planning Board reviewed that redevelopment plan. And in December of 2024 as well, the TC approved the redevelopment plan. In March of 25, the Township Committee designates CHA as the entity redeveloper. In April of 25, the Township Committee approves the redevelopment agreement with CHA. And November of 2025, the Planning Board holds subdivision site plan hearings, which is where we stand today. The Vonage redevelopment was not negotiated on a blank slate. It was negotiated knowing the fourth round mandates discussed earlier. We negotiated ahead of the fourth round when the developer may have even more leverage. The project maximizes the number of age-restricted units at 30% and also allows for units based upon the redevelopment designation.
Yeah, so one further note in terms of the fourth round plan is the components are in there because the Township Committee, like the mayor said, attempted to make the best values judgment it could operating under the law, as we've discussed. I think it also bears noting that there has been an objector to the fourth round plan. It's a party that seeks to develop approximately 130 units in an inclusionary project that would have a school impact and would be located on North Beer Street. So that's one party that is looking to complete a development that, based upon the Township Committee's efforts, if the committee is successful through the current process, that project would not receive zoning even though they're seeking it. And I will submit that there are many other parties that are likely interested in exploring the option of using the Mount Laurel Doctrine and the Affordable Housing Law as a sword of sorts to obtain zoning that I know the committee feels goes against the character of Homedale. And, you know, I think there's to the mayor's point, the property in question at Vonage certainly would have been a property that, absent the committee working with the owners of that property, could have been in a similar situation.
Thank you, Michael. Obviously, negotiating continued. We were able to get out of them 5 acres for an EMS fire station, the senior center, also tearing up some of the parking lots to increase the open space. The bottom line is we will continue to fight back against Trenton mandated housing, but as long as we are stuck operating under the law, we will make the best decisions possible, and Vonage is an example of that. This presentation was meant to educate the public on the factors that went into the decision-making to demonstrate how the Township Committee has acted with the public's best interest in mind at all times. In fact, we're going to read another bad bill that is being considered that I will also ask our attorney to explain.
Thanks, Mayor. So we talked earlier about the 4th round affordable housing law that was adopted at the beginning of 2024 and is obviously cause for concern for our communities. There's currently a bill in the legislature that the League of Municipalities has kind of activated itself and has set forth a draft resolution to oppose. It's Senate Bill S 4736, and specifically this particular legislation would enhance the ability of religious and nonprofit organizations to convert certain property to inclusionary housing developments with affordable housing, essentially preempting the municipal land use law process at the municipal level, and give such developers the right to develop without having to come before, having to comply with the municipality zoning and go before its boards to ensure that. So there's a lengthy resolution that I believe the League had put forward that I've shared with you each year, and I know, Mayor, I think you're interested in a motion to send this resolution, to adopt this resolution opposing Senate Bill S 4736 and transmitting it to, it looks like the governor-elect, and legislators.
Can we get a motion?
Move.
Second.
Mr. Impreviduto?
Yes.
Ms. LaMountain?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
The resolution that was just discussed is successfully passed. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy. So I think this Township Committee has been pretty clear on where we stand on development in town. We're the first Township Committee, and I think it's over 15 years, to actually use our open space funds to secure 3 different properties, beginning with former Mayor Lucarelli, then former Mayor Bontempo, and we had another couple acquisitions this year, and we have another one in the works as well. We are fighting this to every extent we can, while also trying to protect this town, and that's what we're going to continue to do. That's what we were elected to do. So, that being said, I'm going to open up the floor for public comment. Come on up, Mr. Iannello.
It's on.
Yeah, J&L 18 Ladwood Drive. Merry Christmas, Mr. and Mrs. Hines. Question. Everything you said, Brian, everyone, Mr. Collins, I agree with. I am not someone, there's people in town that are completely against the project. I was, as you know, on the committee to assess the options there, and I agreed with most of the committee. It's an okay option. Here's where the problem is, and I'm sure you saw, I think there's almost 1,000 watches now on that YouTube clip from the planning board. The problem is, again, everything you're saying makes 100% sense, and I agree with to a large degree. The problem is we're not doing a sanity check on that septic system, whatever you want to call it. I visited it this past weekend. Whether that's not allowed or not, I don't know. I didn't see any signs. I visited it before when it was full. It's a lot different picture now, not full. It's actually not that deep, the field. It's loaded with broken pipes and industrial, commercial, like tractor tire. Part of the bank in one area looks like it's gonna collapse in. Also, the sprayer fields that will absolutely have to be used, I thought they were going to be big fields. They're not. They're narrow strips of land where at peak operating capacity, you're going to be sprinkler systems, affluent, not next to a building. You're going to be near $1 million townhouses and other establishments with a lot of residents there. So my problem is, as someone, and we've traded phone tag this week, the committee that assessed the Vonage, that was okay with it, was assured that that treatment plant would be taken with the utmost seriousness. And I even heard from the owner's mouth, Bill from CCH, this is real serious. I said, yeah, because this part of town is going to be very serious about that. What I saw at that meeting and what I see at that facility is not seriousness. Meaning, their engineer, first of all, our engineers thought we were going to have a whole new plant. Apparently, that's not the case now. Their engineer and lawyer didn't even know the cost of the repairs and upgrades, what it would be. They didn't even know what the maximum output from the prior, landowners was. Here's the best part. They admitted on the record several times that we're basically going to build and see how it goes. So we'll build phase 1, but we're actually going to be coming to you, Homedale, to move on phase 2 before there's actually a lot of usage, full usage data on that wastewater system from phase 1. Are you kidding me? Their own models, as I'm sure you heard, show that under the current DEP calculations, all the 4 phases can actually be done. And they're optimistic that those numbers could be adjusted. So it's been a long day. I just want to look at my notes because there's so much from that meeting.
Yeah, we just got to get to everybody, though.
Yeah,
Jay.
yeah.
Please
So-
be mindful that
so-
everybody else is here to speak as well.
Again, I hear you, I'm with you, but we're really not thinking logically. And the condition of that facility, their lack of desire to totally upgrade it or replace it. Again, why did our engineers think they were replacing it and they're not? Do we know why? No? Mr. Collins, you might have heard that.
You have the right to
Yeah,
speak.
yeah.
The one thing I was going to share at the end, but if you're asking me a question.
Yes.
Jay, we got to keep moving
yeah,
along.
Well,
and
I know, but this is the elephant in the room.
But it's not a Q&A. We need you to finish up your
The
comments.
mayor's
then
in
we're gonna
charge of
respond.
me, so please finish up and I'll address what I can.
Okay, so I'll finish that point. This isn't sane, what we're considering. Again, we're going to start building and coming to you for phase 2, but we don't even know if this thing can handle phase 1. I mean, the bank ready to collapse, full of garbage. It's not percolating. It rained a couple days before I got there. The rain is sitting there.
You said this already.
No, I didn't say about the percolating. I said that on the tape.
But you are
You're a
repeating
little...
yourself, Jay.
What?
You are repeating yourself on several points. Can you please finish?
It's necessary because you're not looking at this in a sane way.
It's not necessary for you to repeat yourself.
Okay, I'll move on to the other things. Okay. And there's a special meeting that you booked on December 22nd.
Correct.
For general, what did you write? General business. What's general business on December 22nd?
We actually didn't make the motion yet, but the agenda will be posted prior to the meeting.
General business? I would assume it's probably a Vonage vote, but why not just write that? Why not
Because
just write it?
because that part isn't done yet.
Oh, okay. One other thing. I'm sure it's hard to do it, but the Homedale Road paving, while great, there's one manhole set in particular that's way too much of a dip. Chris, I don't know if you see, it's bad. It's only going to get worse. So it's if you're coming from like Hazlitt or whatever, it's the second set, but it's bad, and it's going to cause an accident. And the other thing, last thing, is you mentioned fence options around the horn. Yeah.
What we're talking about is the around the area where it falls off.
Yeah. The fence, Carol Balmer's old property on Middletown Road, they put up a very nice black fence, which is probably very maintenance free. I would consider something, unless you want a natural wood.
Going towards natural.
Okay, if not natural, go with that one. That's my only suggestion. But I'm wrapping up.
Thank you.
Please, you have to look at this sanely.
Thank you, Jay. Michael, would you like to respond?
Sure. So, Mr. Yanello clearly has been speaking with specific reference to the planning board hearing, which the mayor referenced is ongoing. It's an application by the redeveloper for subdivision and site plan approval. The planning board is a separate quasi-judicial body, so to the extent anyone here is talking about what's going on at the planning board, we up here cannot comment on that because we're not allowed to in any way prejudice their proceedings. So you have the right to make a comment. You have a First Amendment right if you want to come up and speak to that, but we're not going to be able to provide you an informed response about what the proceedings are over there. The Township Committee's jurisdiction is specific to its role as redeveloper and to the affordable housing considerations that have informed its redevelopment decisions that we spoke to earlier. So that was what I was going to share earlier, and I appreciate.
Thank you for clarifying that. I respect that. The last comment, I promise. We disagreed, Mr. Foster, but on the tract of land you guys greatly preserved next to St. Catherine's, you said, no, I think we should have a name. And you have your name and a plaque and all your names proudly protecting that. If you guys who ultimately have the say on this matter, I didn't finish my comment. If you guys ultimately approve this, because you have the right to approve it in its current state, whether the planning board does or not, if you approve it and it's an environmental disaster, will you be comfortable with the sign with all your names saying, we approved it?
Thank you for your comments, Jeff. Come on up, Ralph.
Ralph Blumenthal, 41 Stony Brook Road. Thank you for your presentation and summarizing where we're at with regard to the affordable housing situation, which just is one piece of it. It's a complex situation, and I appreciate your fighting to the extent that you can, and it's not, sometimes it's more uphill than anything else. One question about the fourth round, and I think what you've done is, in large measure, select developments which don't end up with a 5-to-1 ratio or anything like that, and I think that those are good choices. One thing I haven't heard about recently, with regard to the fourth round, there are a couple of newish developments in Homedale, which I thought were going to generate some credits. First of all, the Meridian nursing or assisted living next to the shopping center. That may have been included, and those kinds of developments often have a health component, and they're required to have a certain number of affordable beds in them, and that does or should create some credits. That, in the case of Meridian, it may have been included with round 3, I'm not sure. More recent than round 3 and more recent than any of that is Brightview over on 35. So there again, I would have thought that that would have generated some credits, but I haven't heard anything about that. So are those credits being taken into account, or what's happening?
Well, Brightview definitely would have been the third round because the fourth round obligations weren't out yet and the development was done. Michael or Chris, do you have anything
Meridian.
possibly? No, Brightview as well.
As well?
Yeah, Brightview was completed before the fourth round obligations were confirmed.
So, Mayor, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but I believe it's only 10% for the affordable beds in any of these facilities, and I believe it's required. So they would have to have that 10%. So it's got to be part of. It would be part of that third round. It wouldn't be part of it.
Meridian, but I think I don't know when Brightview started. It's
Well, we don't
probably
even
a
have.
couple years
We
ago.
technically don't even have the fourth round yet. I mean, the fourth round hasn't even been
Right.
approved yet. We're still going through our, so it doesn't count. It
Yeah,
counts towards the
I
third.
checked the calendar on Brightview. I don't think it was on the table at all for any of the third round calculations.
It might not be. I'm just saying it wasn't part of the fourth round because it was already completed. But we will check into it for you for sure, Ralph.
It may have slipped in between the two, and somehow its credits should be able to be incorporated.
And if I may, really quickly, just a question, I think really, Mike, more directed at you. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the last mandate was like 260 units or something that we got hit with in 2015, which, you guys, the mayor's gone through the math, that probably meant like 1,000 units overall if you start thinking about the set-asides. But out of that 260, I think there was a gap that was not completed, if I'm not mistaken, that got carried over to us. So, Ralph, to your point, it's worth us looking at, because perhaps the Brightview component, if there's 10% Medicaid, or is it Medicare? I never get that right. Medicaid beds apply, perhaps it fills some of that gap for us. I don't know, but it's worth asking.
Yeah, anytime you can get 10 credits or for whatever,
Yeah.
rather than having to do something else, I think it's worth pursuing.
Absolutely, Ralph. Thank you for your comments. Next comment. Come on up, Ron.
Ron Emma, 32 Ladwood Drive. I'm speaking as a citizen. Just full disclosure, I am on the planning board, so that application is in front of us currently. I have a question about your math, because I just don't know how the affordable housing works. I came up with 154 and a half credits that you went through.
We had carryover from the last
So
mandate, the
that's
last
my- that's my
unfulfilled
question.
part of the
That's-
mandate.
Yeah,
Sorry.
So 106 is the fourth, new on top of that.
Yes.
So the additional units will be put towards what was carried over. So
Yeah, and by carryover, just unfulfilled is really what we mean. Right, sorry. Like, so, and it was like 30 odd, 38 or something.
Yeah, there was a
48.
proposed inclusionary project on the Coles property, which obviously hasn't been developed because the property is, not developed right now. So that third round obligation had to be fulfilled as well as the fourth round obligation. So I apologize if you're sitting there doing math. It makes sense that that is the missing.
So
factor.
in essence, the 154 and a half is not extra.
It's
We-
what we're
we need
facing
it.
right now.
106 is extra, right?
106 was this year's brand new number from 106. Then we had the carryovers that we're talking about.
The unfulfilled obligation from the last round.
So we're ahead of the game. That's what I'm getting at.
Well, to be compliant with the game, for lack of a better term, you have to have submitted by June 30th a plan to the state that
to come up with 106.
plus the
Plus the carryover.
exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Any other comments? I can't see the hand in the back. Wes, come on up.
Wes Fagan, 50 Chestnut Ridge Road. I'm on the Planning Board and Environmental Commission. The Planning Board testimony was provided at this last meeting that the developer...
Sir, Wes, I'm just going to interrupt you. I'm not your counsel. Obviously, I would defer to the planning board counsel, but I just want to confirm, are you making comments relative to the planning board application?
These are personal comments.
Well, you're a sitting member
these-
of the planning board. That's why I'm
I happen
asking.
to be a member of the Planning Board, Environmental Commission, and these are observations I had at the last meeting. It's public knowledge what was said at the meeting.
I'm not going to publicly speak to potential implications, but if you wish to proceed, I
Thank
can't
you.
stop you.
The developer does not know the exact age of any of the disposal systems sections. Jordan Volk, the developer's engineer, testified that the lagoon actually started as a leach field, but there are no records. Like a septic system, underground pipes spread out and disperse the effluent. After some time, it is likely that the pipes clogged. The next iteration created dikes along the sides and poured the sewage into that same surface, creating a lake. The sewage is expected to percolate down into the groundwater or evaporate, while 40,000 gallons per day of waste continues to flow nonstop from the plant. When that system failed, likely because of clay soil or oversaturation, the DEP permitted the owners to disperse the sewage by spray onto the lawn or dump it into the stream. As the permit will supposedly still allow, the developer reserves the right to use the spray system. These spray field locations are not shown on any plot plan, so we don't know the location, nor size, nor area planned to spray 15,000 gallons of sewage every day from May to October every year. The applicant's attorney directly testified that this effluent is termed gray water and that he visited entire communities out west who irrigate with their entire town. However, in fact, gray water by definition has no toilet contamination. So at best, this is a mischaracterization. This is black water, actually sewer water. Any and all spray areas become fenced off, restricted access zones. These are not shown on any plans, and we don't know where they are. The public questioned if the lagoon will smell and requested water samples to consider the odors and clarity factors. The engineer replied, if there were no odor problems in the past, I don't see why there would be problems in the future. When I asked if the lagoon sewer water is stagnant, the answer was no, because it is percolating into the ground. The plant had violations issued in 20 of the last 24 DEP inspections. The developer acknowledges there were violations, but is certain that they can be cured without even knowing what they are. My understanding of DEP punitive actions are either violations or fines. The developer's engineer said that 23 Main Street Limited Liability Corporation would be responsible for those fines. The cost to truck away the sewage if something broke down is estimated at $30,000 per month. The attorney stated that the potential for breakdown is incredibly low. He said there is no requirement and therefore no intent to post a bond. When I asked the developer's engineer the size of the lagoon, he did not know. If he read the permit, he would have seen the dimensions of 662 by 140 feet are printed right on the permit. I asked for a location of any site within New Jersey that has a similar setup. He knew of
Wes, you want to turn that on and off, see if that works?
Oh, is this on? Yes.
Please continue.
He would have seen, if he read the permit, the size of the lagoon. I asked for the location of any site within New Jersey that has a similar setup. He knew of none. T&M provided testimony that they have no objections to the proposed upgrades. When they wrote in their submittal on September 30th that a new packaged plant will be installed, they subsequently testified that they meant refurbished, not new. The Collier's concept plan was neither signed nor stamped by any engineer. This project hinges on a maximum flow of 40,000 gallons per day. The first 3 phases are projected to produce 39,000 gallons. I'm retired from a company named Industrial Controls. The specification of flow meters was part of my professional expertise, so I took interest in the plant upgrade to see exactly where the metering is done now and in the rehab. Unbelievably, the drawing has no mention of existing meters or of any new flow meters to measure gallons coming into nor leaving the plant. The plot plan legend shows a monitoring well symbol, but no wells are shown on the plan. I know because I've been there and I've seen and I have photos of at least 4 that are in this steep slope. Section 30-116, paragraph E1 of our development regulations require the stream buffer of any Hop Brook tributary to be 150 feet. Only 100 feet are drawn on the plans. The lagoon is entirely within and would no longer be allowed in the 300-foot conservation easement by today's standards. The Homedale Environmental Commission letter asked for an on-site visit to be scheduled to view and confirm the stream, the wetlands, and conservation zones. The developer has not agreed to that. The professionals involved are of the view that these concerns are outside of the limited jurisdiction of the planning board. They say we must put aside our concerns to trust and defer to the DEP for matters associated with our drinking water.
How much longer
Yeah.
is this going to be, Wes?
1 paragraph.
Please finish.
The planning board bylaws allows a special on-site meeting to be convened with 2 affirmative votes. If we can schedule an on-site, we might gain a better understanding of the issues being raised. The potential and real liability associated with occurrences of Zika, West Nile, malaria, encephalitis will attract a broad attention from legal party interests. Further, I respectfully request that the Township Committee needs to consider how to deflect future legal responsibility and monetary awards onto the LLC and the professionals being employed. Thank you.
Thank you, Wes. Any other comments? Any other comments? Okay. Come on up, please.
Kristen Solero, 5 Hopbrook Lane. So we look at this and we see a development that completely goes against the Homedale master plan. How does the town justify going against our own master plan?
This isn't a Q&A session, this is public comments.
Oh, okay. Terrific. Okay. So we appreciate the history lesson. We know it's a thinly veiled damage control tactic, and you're trying to scare us also with the citations of Colts Neck and Middletown. Thank you for that, but I think we're smarter than that. You say you're being transparent. It doesn't mean that we actually believe you. You cannot gaslight us into believing your talking points. When we talk to people about Vonage, nobody knows about it. And they're outraged. What does that tell you? We live across the street from Vonage. Where was our notification of the redevelopment agreement? So you guys sit there and you say, well, it adheres to the redevelopment agreement. We only got the notification when it was time for them to come before, and then it's a circular argument because you say, oh, well, it meets the redevelopment agreement. So what does this tell you? It tells me that it's a rigged process. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Come on up, sir.
Pete Franco, 5 Hopbrook. I know the affordable housing you guys are pushing, but does that mean that we need to sacrifice our drinking water with what's going on, what potentially can go on? I mean, it seems that the state is pushing this on everybody and inviting contamination to our drinking water, and it's too bad. You guys need to meet a quota. Why don't we get better? We're Homedale. Why can't we get better? Why can't we get a state-of-the-art sewer treatment plant that's going to keep up, that's not going to fail? Because when I sat here the other night and asked about that lagoon, because there is a service life on them, and the engineer said it's not original to the building that was put up. They don't know when, but I look back at aerials from 1979. That lagoon is fully operational and fully full back in 1979. That's less than 2 years than when Vonage, kicked up, opened. So to tell us half-truths and say, they don't know and essentially lie to us about it, I mean, where do we go from here? The Willowbrook is going to be contaminated. They admitted that they can't take, pharmaceuticals, medical, heavy metals or whatever out of the gray water, which they're calling it. It's going to spray. It's going to get airborne. Everybody knows I own a farm over there. I feel threatened by this. I know you guys don't, because I guess everybody's on the other side of town, and we don't care about the north side. So when they stick it with us, you guys don't get anything on the south. But we don't have the luxuries the north side of the town has. We don't have sewers. We have failing septic systems, and we have Vonage that we're being forced to put up with whatever you guys feel necessary to put there. I feel we don't have a voice in this, even though of recent months we feel we do. We're really, this is being pushed on us, and we really, I mean, like, how do I say something that's going to get through to you guys that the values of our homes are going to be affected by this, our drinking water is going to be affected by this, the school system's going to be affected by this, our taxes, the values of our homes are all going to be affected by this. This has got to stop. You allow this, who's to stop, say, SS White from that project being bought up, and then the state wants more houses there. I get it. Colts Neck kicked the can down the road with affordable housing for God knows how long, and they're sending it where. But we're Homedale. I mean, we can stick together, find a better place for this, not on a Category 1 tributary. There's got to be a better plan.
Thank you for your comments, Pete. Any other comments? Come on up, Bill.
Hi, Bill Little, 8 Coventry Square. 2 quick things. One is I'm really concerned about the phase 1, and then we'll see how much effluent there is, and then we'll try to do phase 2. I mean, I'm not in business, but from what I hear business people say, hope is not a strategy. We hope it works. That's not good enough. The other thing is if there's a real failure, not just you know, having to spray and stuff like that. What body has the responsibility and the authority to require remediation and fixing things? So, that's my question.
Michael, can you comment on any of that, or?
I'm sorry. And is it in writing? Because we all know if it's not written down, it doesn't exist.
I'm not going to be able to give you anything in writing here. I wish the township engineer were here, although, like I said earlier, we really can't speak to specifics. But I would say, generally speaking, these wastewater issues are controlled by DEP regulations. So I think to answer your question, it would be DEP compliance that would be at issue.
Any further comments?
No.
Any other further comments? 1 second, Pete. Come on up, Matt. Pete, we'll go through everybody else before we come back.
Hey guys, Matt Weisfeld, 10 Riverside Lane, Homedale, New Jersey. I got to admit, you guys actually taught me some stuff. And what I came up here to talk about, I'm kind of pivoting on the fly. And I just did a little chat GPT, so I'm no lawyer like Mike over here. You've got this stuff down. But that being said, I feel like, and I am kind of looking at you two guys, I know your families have been here a long time. I feel like in both cases, you guys have your hands tied by things from the 70s. I just learned a lot about Mount Laurel. Holy crap. What a terribly done thing that has nothing to do with you guys. And holy crap, speaking of crap, Vonage is literally getting screwed by something from the 70s. How come Homedale is adopting all of this old nonsense? And frankly, I was going to read it off, but again, it's a chat GPT thing. I don't want Mike to be like, what are you talking about, man? Come on. Why don't we fight it? Why don't we just say no? I just checked out New Jersey. There's no record because everyone's afraid, and it looks like they're all turning on each other. They're doing, again, guys, I'm literally going off of what I just gleaned in a quick, because this is not at all what I was going to say. But you guys just taught me a lot, because if your hands are tied that much, you don't want the builder's remedy. Guys, check out the builder's remedy. It's frightening. My point is, we are Homedale. Let's start, and I am a business owner, so, you know, it meant the business mind standpoint and everything else. Why don't we just fight it? There is really no back end, you know, anything on it. Let's be the first. Let's be the ones that say, stop screwing with our town and putting you guys in terrible positions. Because at the core of it, I'm sure every one of you don't want to build. I mean, I hope, or something. And in reality, everything I'm looking at, I want to... Mayor, I came in here pretty pissed at you. I'm with all of you guys. I'm tempered by learning a little bit more. When I looked that up, I'm like, from the 70s? That's why my overall comment is, screw it. We're going to be blowing a lot of money on all the lawsuits and stuff, the GoFundMes, just to fix the water. If we're going to blow the money anyway, let's go after the state. Come on, let's get Vicky Flynn in here. Let's get all the people in. Let's do this. I'm not even kidding. You know, I'm in here with my freaking flip-flops like a lunatic. And I really want to get back home because there's way too many kids there. But seriously, let's freaking fight it. Enough with this crap. Are we Homedale or are we a bunch of chumps? This is why we moved here. And guys, this is why, again, referring to you guys, I'll leave it at that. I made my point. I think I got a little excitement going on over there. I'd rather a lawsuit of fighting the stuff that keeps screwing us rather than whatever lawsuits that may or may not happen with fixing Vonage. And you don't have to, I don't have to hold you to this, but like, if there's going to be money spent in lawsuits either way, doesn't it kind of make sense? Wink, wink. You just kick me under the table later. It's all good. Anyway, thank you for the time. Seriously, let's just say no.
Mayor, if I can just...
Thank you, Matt. Go ahead,
Would
Rob.
you mind if I just jump in real quick?
Please.
And Matt, I appreciate that. So, look, there's no excuses here on anything. I want to be very clear about that. We are the first governing body in 40 years to sue the state over this mandate. That's when Mike mentioned the Montvale. Am I allowed to talk here, Mike?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because I know there's like touchiness when I start going down this road. So
honestly, we've been very public about. I mean,
All right.
and the lawsuit's very public, and I think it's worth educating
All right.
the public because
So-
the more people understand about what's going on. I think
just
it'll
rein me in if I start
Oh,
going too far
understood.
afield.
I may just throw one thing out.
Yeah.
I know everybody. I know you're all worried about political advancement and everything else, all that stuff. Frankly, guys, I don't give a crap as long as you do good stuff that's going to be good for my kids. Because I just don't want my 3 kids to fight whatever mistakes we make 20 years from now. So just to throw that out there.
Yeah. So we were the first governing body. We are the first governing body in over 40 years to present a legal challenge to the state. Okay. So to Mike's point, we parallel pathed it.
That's
Okay.
happening right. That's the thing.
That's, we're in the midst of it. It started under me, and then we got denied at the state level, and then it got pushed to federal, and Brian put his own name on it because it had to be it had to be a person attached to it. So that's still going on, and we're still escalating and still fighting. So that legal challenge has been going on now 18 months, almost 2 years at this point, I think. Mike, is that right? Or they're they separate legal challenges, whatever they are.
Yeah, no, I literally, I'm the attorney of record in all these cases. And in the federal case, as I mentioned earlier, the mayor is an individual plaintiff, the township is a named party. The mayor signed a motion this past Friday asking the federal court to place on hold the March 15th, 2026 deadline, and that's coming up next year. That deadline is the one where every municipality that's participating before the program either needs to implement the zoning, which in most instances will require high-density housing, or they lose their immunity and a developer can file a builder's remedy lawsuit the next
Right.
day.
So, yeah,
we're
so-
literally, this fight is ongoing
Right.
as of this past,
But
every day.
To be prudent and to be frank, these are very difficult legal challenges to win, right? So we had to parallel path the effort. We present a legal challenge to the state, we sue the state effectively, and we work within the structure to negotiate the mandate down. Okay, so the mandate originally came in at 133 units. Kim Leadpoint, our deputy mayor, that negotiated the number down to the 106 that we're faced with now. Again, not carrying the unfulfilled mandate from the prior. So we operated within the system to negotiate down in case we lose the legal battle. We couldn't just put all the eggs in one basket, because then if we don't comply with the state regulation and lose, now we can get hit with builder's remedy lawsuits all across the board. And to Brian's point about the development on Nut Swamp Road, like, that's gonna be a disaster. It's in Middletown, but Homedale gets impacted, right? Like, so that's the context in terms of what we were trying to accomplish, or what we've been trying to negotiate, navigate, and challenge. Nobody is looking, and again, Mike, I don't want to go too far here on things that I can't say, so just pull me back in, when needed, because I don't want to get us caught up in a legal jam here. No one ever looked at, and Jay, you alluded to this, no one ever looked at the development proposed for Vonage and said, boy, I can't wait to put my name on this, right? What was evaluated, right, were things that are viable in this day and age and in this context in this county. So what's viable these days? Not acceptable to us, but what's viable? A distribution center, right, which, like an Amazon thing, we don't want that there, right? A storage facility, we don't want that there. We looked at data centers. Data center would be nice, quiet, no impact on infrastructure, except for the massive amounts of energy it would take, right? So that wouldn't work, right? So it's process of elimination, right? So, and then go down the line. 300 toll condominiums. We don't want that there either. The impact on infrastructure, police, fire, schools, like the downstream impact of this type of density, like, doesn't get calculated, right? And then it ends up costing us money later on. And it wasn't, people brought up rec centers. I talked to 2 owners of recreation facilities. They both told me point blank, to even hope to turn a profit, that building will have to be packed, and there'll have to be traffic in downtown Homedale and South Homedale from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. every single night and all weekend. Okay, there's already traffic on 520 that we've never seen before, at least not in our history here in the town, right? So even if it could work from a profitability standpoint, it still wouldn't work in terms of the town, the infrastructure, and the impact that it would have, right? So when you start going down the line on all the potential options for 88 acres and a 350,000 square foot building, you start winnowing down very quickly to threading a needle, quite frankly, right? I think there's someone had even mentioned, well, what about a shopping, sort of complex? 2.0. What's that? Grove 2.0 or like a Jersey Shore Outlets. I mean, I live in South Homedale too, by the way. Like, I don't think people would appreciate a shopping commerce center, right, with traffic in and out on weekends and nights and and evenings for people to go shopping. And I just don't. Again, I live in South Homedale. I see the traffic that we can't do much about right now because the road's not wide enough for the population increase, et cetera, et cetera. So when you start looking at all of these options, they sound nice on paper. They're things to consider, and they're things to evaluate, and we did, right? It was part of the work the ad hoc committee did, and we came out of it and said, this is not sexy, right? This is not like a amazing, there's going to be a 3-stage assisted, continuing care retirement community here, right? Awesome. But what the evaluation yielded was that building once held 2,000 people in it. on this property, when, if it's done to completion, if all 4 phases are completed, between residents and workers, you're gonna have somewhere in the neighborhood, I believe 700 total. 680, there you go. So a third, less than a third of what used to populate that area will be now populating this complex, so to speak, this development, right? So you take a step back and say, okay, far fewer people than have ever been there before. Hope Wendy's not holding me to 3 minutes. Far fewer people have ever been in that complex other than COVID are gonna be in that complex, right? Older folks.
Mike's like, no.
Yeah.
Make it a-
They're trying to give me the hook. They're gonna start playing the music. So they're gonna be older folks. They're just not, I mean, let's be frank, they're not gonna be as mobile, right? So we're not gonna worry about impact necessarily on roads, right? They're donating 5 acres for us to put a fire and EMS hub in South Homedale, right? Which over time we can build and we can sustain. We're gonna get a 7,000 square foot senior center in the complex for Homedale residents, for all Homedale residents. So these were the negotiating sort of pieces that came in to make sure there's some benefit to the town with this, right? And so then when we get to, so functionally, right, and then there's no impact on the school system whatsoever. And by the way, and I'll wear it, I've said publicly, 2 years ago, last year, you know, when this, you know, if this goes through, we promise to keep the schools whole or better, okay? We're not taking money out of their pocket, right, on this. Like, that was never the intention or never anything, and it's a public statement I made, right, and I'll wear it. So now, when all those factors come into play, what you see is a situation that works, right? Not one that, again, you know, everybody's like cheering for here, right? But it works given the constraints and given the fact that we were negotiating with a proverbial gun to our head. Because our attorneys specifically told us, if we don't get a decision on that property by October of 2024, the state will mandate between 600 and 800 units there. Okay, largely affordable. Okay, so that was the, so as we're trying to winnow down the options and what we need to get to and get to something that works, we had to get something locked in. Otherwise, the challenge would be presented, and it wouldn't have been 133 units that we got tasked with. It would have been far more. Mind you, you're dealing with a state that came to us last year and said, you guys have plenty of room. How about right here? And our attorney said, well, that's the PNC Bank parking lot. And then they said, well, what about over here? And Mike said, well, that's our swim club. Right? So there is no logic. There is no rationale, any clear rationale behind how they do what they do and what they calculate. This is why we're fighting it, because it's beyond comprehension, right? They don't do their homework. They don't try. They just look at a calculation and make things up, from my opinion, okay? Now, so all that said, that's how, like, so the timeline the mayor presented, this is public record. It is accurate. I've made many statements like the one I'm making now to you many times over. What I will say is we are in agreement when it comes to, you know, and we're all in agreement when it comes to not compromising on public safety. And public safety, I mean, you know, the sanitary conditions, the drinking water, et cetera. I can't speak to the engineer reports. I think we're going to double down and take a hard look at that if and when this comes to us, right, to be very clear. But I will also say that you're dealing with, and I'm not a engineer, right? I'm just speaking from my personal perspective and the perspective I've had from the beginning on this. And I, you know, whatever that packing plant has held over time, it used to handle appropriately a building that had 2,000 people in it. And now we're dealing with a maximum of 680, give or take, in that area alone, you know, on any given day. Now, the next question would be, well, these people are going to need medical assistance and their waste is going to have chemicals in it. I think we can all
I'm going to hold to their
so I got to stop?
I know that the stormwater or wastewater has been a specific topic before the planning board.
Okay.
I think we should keep our conversation here to the governing body's role, which is the
Sorry.
zoning issue and the redevelopment issue.
Sorry.
If I may-
I always get in trouble. I go too far. But
No, I do the same.
yeah.
Sounds like you put a lot of time into that.
Yeah.
You've honestly been working on that for like 2 years.
Well, we all have. And so, look, the ultimate look, and I'll leave it at this. No one is looking, you know, no one's looking to make any decision detrimental to the town. We're working to make the best decision we can to deliver on the task at hand. And the task at hand was to protect as much property as we could, as appropriately as we could. That's why we've preserved like 67 acres over the past couple of years, right? We got Potter's Farm, we got the Horn Antenna under DJ, we got the property next to St. Catherine's, and we're chasing one other property of 40-odd acres as well, Pappas. That'll be 100 acres, give or take, that we've procured in the past 3 years, starting with DJ and following through. So this is not deflection, it's not an excuse, it's reality. The reality is we are procuring property as fast and as much as we can to prevent development on it. We prevented the development on Potter's Farm, and we procured that property, and that's gone through. That's been our aim number one. Our goal is to do that, is to take property and ensure it's not going to be developed. But what we've always said from the beginning was, if there was nothing, we want nothing to remain. If there was something on a property, there's likely going to be something there again. And whether or not the thing is right, or we agree on what the execution of it is, that's sort of been the sentiment we've had. And so without getting in particular about, before I get myself in trouble again, that's the perspective. And again, I'm not trying to convince everybody. I want people to understand the rationale, because we all live here too. So we don't, we're not looking for something that's going to be detrimental to the town either.
Not the head zoning guy, he's out, but I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, but so that's ultimately the point here, right? So there are concerns. I'm sure they are viable. I can't get into that piece of things. They're worth considering and discussing, I'm sure. But at the end of the day, this is how we got here. This is where we are. And we don't, we're not making this decision lightly. We're approaching 3 years on this project, by the way. I think I wrote an article about it in Patch last year as well, right? We've been as public with this as we possibly can. And I understand, not everybody pays attention. They have lives. But we're here not by the snap of a finger. We're here after almost 36 months.
And if I may, I know not Q&A, but staying positive and everything else, because I like that. I had no clue up until literally 15 minutes ago. These are the kind of things where, again, I'm sure most of the, you guys don't even know about this. This is where I think I can speak for everyone. We want to help. In the sense that, frankly, there's some past things that I think were great, but could have been fleshed out a little bit better. And I just feel like there's so many people between CELU, between everybody, ready to, hey, some people are just not going to like you guys. There's some people you're just not going to like. I'm not going to get into it, but, I think we're pretty good guys over here. But whatever. Point is, I knew nothing about this. And frankly, off the record, I'll filibuster the crap out of this stuff so we can just hold off Vonage till we fight the state. Because that's, to me, what the solution should be. And I get about having that second opportunity, but to me, it just feels like we're getting clouded by the big fish. The big fish being our hands are being held. And you know what? After looking it up, it looks like every town is too soft and too weak. Why are we not the leaders? We should be the ones saying no, and I'm glad you are. Any of you know about that? I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. But again, I think I'm decently informed. I'm not with everything. I'm all over the place. 3 kids. You got 4. But the point is, I don't even think any of us know about the builder's remedy or any of these other things that you guys are going through. I'll leave it at that because it's getting late and it's Thanksgiving. So
thank you, Matt. Thank you for Rocco. Thank you for chiming in.
Me.
Anybody else? Public comment. Mr. Skeeter, come on up. Lance?
Where's the food from the Regency? What was this crap?
Coffee's for closers, Matt.
Great movie.
How's everybody? Good. Good evening. Lance Loopy, Line Road. I was at the meeting where you voted on this. I spoke my piece then. I'm against it then. I'm against it still. But I think I know this isn't a Q&A, but I think there's really nothing that can be done at this point, right? The committee's voted on it as long as they comply with all of the zoning requirements. Right. That.
Yeah.
So that's that. So I think, unfortunately, the time to speak is probably past itself, right? I wish there was a lot of people here. There was not a lot of people here that night that you voted. It was very quiet, and most of the people that did speak were in favor, if not all, except for me. So I'm sure I'm not a fan with the people behind me now, but whatever. Question. We spent how much on pickleball courts? 1.3 million?
I think we've given those numbers before. We can get it again. We got
Yeah,
a bunch of grants for it as well.
I think we had 800 in grants or something along those lines.
Do you have any usage stats on those pickleball courts that we spent all this
We'll
money
definitely
on?
have them out, but the usage actually really ramped up towards the end of the
It's high.
summer and the
It's
fall.
high. There's no
If you go up there on the weekends, they're pretty packed.
Gotcha. Because I've looked on the calendar several occasions. It's pretty open, the calendar.
I think a lot of folks aren't using the calendar. So if you drive
Gotcha.
by, it's getting colder now, but if
Right.
you would drive by in temperate weather,
Uh-huh.
I can almost guarantee you'll see them in use,
Okay.
as I have.
Okay. Just curious, because that was
yeah.
that was a lot of money. Grant money. I mean, where does the grant money come from? Comes from us. So we could say it's grant money, but it's ultimately comes from us, right? It's tax dollars.
Yeah, it was what, a state recreation grant, I guess. Yeah, something like that.
But it comes from us. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Lance, thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Pat, thank you. You too, Lance.
Patrick Trisquita, 56 Line Road. First of all, thanks to Chris on the horn antenna. Anything we can do to move that up. Just want to have the public have access to the creation of the universe up at Crawford Hill. I want to commend the committee on how they've handled the first through fourth rounds of Mount Laurel. It's not. Mount Laurel's been around for 40 years. It's not easy for a town. For the fourth round, as I said, when the plan was put together, I think it threaded the needle to what we can do. And when we look at it, building a place behind Coles and Vonage redevelopment, if you look at Vonage, as I stated many times before, it's a dilapidated building that's long past its use. What could we build there? Well, the committees and different ad hoc committees looked at that. Putting what we're putting there right now, to me, looks pretty good. Phase 1 is 104 senior housing. The town gets 5 acres for potentially a new first aid squad and fire EMS building, and we get a new senior center. I have no doubts that the environmentals will be maintained and the bucolic conditions of Homedale will continue and our water will continue to be safe from New Jersey American Water. So I want to thank the committee for proceeding on the way and commend them and move forward with this into 26.
Thank you, Pat.
I went and looked at
Jay,
it.
please.
I had no smell, saw it, and yeah, there's some cleanup that needs to be done, but
Thank you, Pat.
nothing major.
Any further public comments? Come on up. Yeah. No, yeah, anything. Yeah, please.
Wanted to clarify that. Bill Favazani, 13 Sweetbriar Lane, Homedale. Mayor Foster and members of the Township Committee. I'm Bill Favazani. I'm here representing my wife Karen, my 10-year-old son. We live at 13 Sweetbriar Lane in Homedale. Our property shares a border with Casola Farms. We have serious concerns about the negative impact on our health and the peaceful enjoyment of our property, and the negative impact that Casola Farms, I quote, all new Merry Mile of Lights drive-through will have on the township as a whole. Well, I noticed a couple of weeks ago that Casola Farms installed new holiday lighting on the back of their property, the side of their property that faces the houses, not on the side that faces Route 34. It wasn't until yesterday that I became aware of the new usage that is advertised as, I quote, a mile-long drive-through holiday trail with, again, quote, millions of dazzling lights. The car route is just feet from our shared property line. The new usage, arguably, is not in any way related to agriculture, as evidenced by the annual Magic of Lights display at the non-farm PNC Arts Center, which, by the way, is a cheaper option for a lights display than going to Casola Farms. This is going to lead to a steady stream of cars moving at slow speeds and emitting noxious emissions, essentially in my backyard. It is advertised as being open on Wednesdays to Sunday. This will create unnecessary nighttime noise that will directly impact the many school children who live in the houses that are adjacent to the Casola property and who sleep during the time that this is going to be open. I believe that in 2002, the Township and Casola Farms, after a number of legal actions, agreed to standards of operation for the October hayrides and Christmas tree sales. The hayrides are only allowed on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And from what I read, specifically 60-watt or less bulbs, this was 2002, and 40 feet of distance between temporary lighting on the hayride route were specified. This new usage, which does not appear to have been cleared with the township in any way, clearly, with its millions of dazzling lights, will exceed that, and they clearly state that they're open on Wednesdays and Thursdays for this endeavor. There's another critical difference. The current Casola hayride is fully operated by Casola employees who drive a few tractors on a loop, and it passes by my house every 3 or 4 minutes or so. The new usage has the potential to have an unlimited number of cars driving bumper to bumper and potentially honking the whole way past my house and my neighbors' homes. That doesn't happen with hayrides. The PNC Arts Center Magic of Lights display provides us with a clear picture of what this could be, and clearly that's not what we want in our community next to our homes. There are good reasons that such holiday light displays occur on parcels like the PNC property, and not along residential home properties. Businesses are important to our community. Also important is the right of our residents to have a safe, healthy, and peaceful enjoyment of our property. The Casola Farms' new usage jeopardizes that. This new drive-through is inconsistent with the township's already established operating agreement with Casola Farms. I understand that the township is aware of this, of these concerns, and aware that others have raised it as well. I also am aware that the township is looking into these concerns. Immediate action by the township is needed to stop this usage before it starts this Friday. I thank you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight.
Bill, thank you for coming down. We obviously received your email, and we have started to look into it. I'm going to let our attorney comment.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to say too much. What I will say is that obviously the members of the township committee aren't the ones who would issue a violation if there were ever a zoning violation. That's the zoning official, the zoning officer. So I believe whether it was yourself or someone has raised this particular issue, it's being reviewed. There are potential implications with the Right to Farm Act, so we'll review those internally. And if the zoning officer has jurisdiction, the zoning officer will, follow the law as appropriate. So I would follow up on whatever you may have submitted to the township.
So the communication that you're referring to is not mine. It's from a neighbor who also shares that property line. The issue right now is they start this on Friday. I'm hearing process, which for all I know is ending in January after a month of this, after the time of this happening. So my push is for action and quick action. And I thank the Township Committee for hearing me out, and I appreciate the appropriate bodies in town, governance, whether it's zoning or wherever, addressing it. And we have an agreement, 2002, that clearly outlines operating requirements for them for similar type functions. It seems to me that this is an open and shut discussion with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill, and thank you for your patience. We will be looking into that. Any other further public comments? Seeing none. Pete, did you want to? Yeah. Please. Yep.
Peter
Name-
Franco, 5 Hopper Lane. There is no mitigation plan in case it did fail, and there is no spillway if that was to breach and catch 6 million gallons of gray or black water into the brook, what you were asking before. Also, Rocco, if I may, 600 people at 125 gallons a day is 75,000 gallons of what's supposed to go through that plant. Vonage was a building of 1,700 people for 8-hour use, 5 days a week, not 24/7, 365. So that just kind of makes it a lot worse now that you look at it on paper. Also, with the affordable housing, if they do bail after phase 1 because the system can't handle it, phase 1 gets 21 affordable, phase 2 gets 13, phase 3 gets 6. So after phase 1 fails with only 21 affordable units built, what happens with the 13 and then the 6? Where do we put them? Also, there is work being done at the Vonage sewer treatment plant. I went on the SDL portal. There are no permits that are open. There is work going on there every day. I walk through there, whether I can or can't. Sometimes I even drive through it. There's people, they're doing masonry work, there's valves coming in and out of that building, containers being filled, grates off the top of the tanks that are underground. Just want you guys to know, I did take pictures, I did send them to the building department. I never heard back, but I'd appreciate if somebody followed through with it. That's all, thanks.
Thank you, Pete. Before we move forward, can we please get a motion for item 16 on the agenda, please?
Motion.
Just for the record, this is
I was just gonna say.
the motion to schedule the special meeting for December 22nd, 6:30 executive, 7:30 public, just like we normally do. It's on Monday rather than Tuesday in light of the Christmas holiday towards the end of the week. And as mentioned earlier, right now it's a regular business meeting so that we could conduct regular business just like we normally do. I think we were ambitious with the meeting schedule this year, hoping to have one meeting in December, but it looks like, we'll need to.
Mr. Improviduto?
Yes.
Ms. LaMountain?
Yes.
Mr. Lucarelli?
Yes.
Mayor Foster?
Yes.
The December 22nd.
Ma'am, did you have
meeting-
public comment? Please, come on up. Absolutely.
Hi, sorry. Michelle Angeline, 177 Oaks Drive. I just had a question about, in the last meeting that I watched, it was a lot of like the DEP sets the guidelines. I'm just wondering, like, can we have like independent, I don't know, water experts or something come in? I know this is like a comment or a question. It's more of a question.
Or for the
but-
planning board, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So no one would be able to. Okay. So then I would just like to state that that would be my preference, and I represent many mothers my age who cannot get here at this time, right before Thanksgiving, who also feel the same way.
Well, thank you very much. Come on up, Alicia.
Alicia Unison, 8 Riverside Lane. I appreciate you all trying to explain a lot of this to us this evening. Feels like there's a lot of fear-mongering going on. When I hear numbers like 600 to 800 units being built on that property at Vonage, it simply wouldn't happen. It couldn't occur there. We can't build it there. Because of that water plant, it's not able to handle it. Can we push back on the builders and explain that to them? Who's fighting for us? We go to the planning board meeting, they can't answer us. We come here, you say the planning board. Who is going to explain to somebody that this isn't going to work? This can't work. Guys, we've talked to the experts. I know you want it to work. We can't push a square hole in a round peg. We can't, whatever it is, we can't do it. It's not going to work. This isn't working. Using a third of the lifestyle area, you're bringing up the number, a third of what is being used, you had said?
A third of the capacity.
Right,
That
a third
was
of the
what's there.
capacity, I assure you is not the case. We're going to be at over 100% at that wastewater treatment plant. Their own engineer said, every treatment like this needs to be built specifically for the usage. This is not the usage that it is for. It is going to fail, and it is a question of when, not if. It's going to fail. And at that point, are those units going to still be built? When they said if we can't get to the third and fourth phase, we just won't build them. Then what do we do as a town? What are you guys going to do at that point?
It means the property has 2 phases built and that's it.
What about all the affordable housing that was promised?
Well, there was a spillover from the last mandate, and I presume the spillover would go into the next one. We had to cover for the last mandate that wasn't fulfilled, and I presume that would happen again for the next one. Now, I will also say, if you've ever seen what happened in Colts Neck, the state does not care about environmental regulations. They don't. As long as the words affordable housing or mandated housing are part of the discussion, the state, the judges, the courts do not care about environmental mandates.
But then we have to.
Of course we do. But my point is, you said they can't do 600, 800 units. Yes, they can, and they will.
Not with that treatment plant.
Nobody said they were going to use that treatment plant if it goes that route. They could force them to put in sewers. There's just look across the state at what's happened with the builders' remedy suits. We just mentioned the project right down the block behind St. Catharines for Middletown. Do you think that fits on that property? It's
We're
not even
worse-
close
we're
to
worse
fitting
than that
on it.
situation. Do you guys understand that? We're worse than that situation, and you're talking about it like that's the worst case scenario. We are worse. Are you prepared for what's going to happen? We all live here. You say you live here. You say you care. Why do we all see it, but you can't see it? Why is that happening? Why do we have to keep reminding you about this wastewater treatment plant that cannot house these residents?
I have not heard
Rocco,
an
I'm looking at
engineer's
you 'cause
report.
you seem to be the most talkative. But
Yeah,
that's-
no,
I
it's
don't mean to
typically
put you on
the story of my
spot.
life. I'm typically the one that's always, they always got to shut me down. I've not heard anything from the engineers, both ours or theirs, that said it can't handle it.
So I'll be honest, you guys weren't here that night. They couldn't answer 75% of the questions that were asked. Who holds them responsible? Why do these meetings happen if they can't answer the questions?
Well, look, and that's why there's, and to Mike's point, they're a separate governing body that we can't comment on, and I went a little bit further before than I should have, but that's why the process exists. And so, there's another meeting, as far as I know, on the 16th? And that's how the process is supposed to go. And, all these checkpoints along the way. And
Then
listen,
why the
again,
rush to this meeting on December 16th? Why is there such a rush?
but again, it's been 3 years. It's
Hasn't
been almost 3
years. You guys had an ad hoc committee last year, which gave you 8 brilliant ideas. This was the last one.
Hold on.
Why?
I
Why are
went.
we
I
doing
went.
the
Hold on.
last
Hold on. I
option?
went through all the 8 brilliant ideas: distribution center, storage center, right? 300 condos, okay? Data center.
So you didn't agree with the ad hoc committee that you appointed?
Are you kidding me? I wanted a university there. There was a university looking to relocate. I wanted to put that there, and the ad hoc committee didn't agree with me. So that's what I wanted. I thought it would have been. We met with them a couple times. We met with the president of the university a couple times to put it there. Yeah, I'm going too far, Mike. All right, I'll stop.
Yeah, I think we'd all like to know who else offered. Who else offered to go into that space? Somebody else must have offered.
No.
Nothing.
No.
So my final question to all of you
Try it.
is, are you offering them a pilot program?
Speak to the.
Yeah, there's no secrets here.
There are actually, because there's 2 different development plans. One has it and one doesn't.
The redevelopment plan, the redevelopment agreement that was adopted has a provision in it that the Township Committee would agree to extend them a pilot. A pilot agreement under the long-term tax exemption law can only be awarded if they demonstrate a need, a gap in the project that requires it in order for the project to be completed. Our professionals are currently working with the redeveloper to evaluate their financials, and the Township Committee, if it's warranted under the statute, will consider that.
And at the end of the day, who suffers these pilot programs? Our school that's already
See, again,
in a
that's
huge
incorrect.
deficit.
That's incorrect.
It's not incorrect.
It is.
You can say whatever you
We'll
want.
be doing a pilot presentation December 9th, so we'll be able to answer all of your questions then. I mean, there was one done back in 2016.
No,
I'm
it's
sure
not.
Mr.
This
Bontempo
is
remembers
a known
that.
thing that townships do. They take on these pilot programs so that they can have money for the township and not for the schools.
But I don't. But so
We're gonna suffer. We're gonna pay the
provide me.
taxes regardless.
That's fine. Provide me with an example then, please.
Of which?
How the schools have lost out on a pilot program.
Well, they're not losing out on the current program. Actually, they are. We could be getting more money directly to the schools without them fighting or lobbying you guys for more money that they needed to get through this year. For example,
They've pulled in
the
almost
budget.
10 million off of that development.
I'd like to see the numbers there.
I'll talk to the head of my finance committee
10
again.
million?
We're close to 10. We're between 5 and
You're
10 million on
discussing
development.
the police that we offer them from the township.
The police. No. No, I'm talking about the
Rock,
40.
let's do all this at
Yeah,
the
sorry.
December 9th meeting, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alicia. No problem. Any other further public comments? All right, Pat, real quick, please. You got to be quick, though, please.
Patrick Trisquita, 56 Line Road. I want to respond in favor of pilot programs. The Vonage, the Bellworks pilot has delivered now over $10 million, amazing this year, and I'm looking forward to the next season of Severance filmed at Bellworks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pat.
For the pilot for Vonage, it's a senior complex and urban blight.
Thank you, Pat. Last chance for public comments. Seeing none, can we get a motion?